Alabama?
It starts in Alabama, at Tuskegee University, where Booker T. Washington was the president. And Julius Rosenwald was a philanthropist that was on the board of trustees at Booker T. Washington, at Tuskegee. And he would donate money, grant money to Tuskegee a lot. And so one year there was some funds left over from a grant that he had given to Tuskegee. So Booker T. Washington asked him if he could use that money towards building 3 schools there in Alabama for African American or blacks, as they call them, Negroes as they used to call them. And because the school conditions there were really bad. Some of them didn't have schools, some of them were holding schools in homes and stuff like that. So it started out with 3 schools being built in Alabama. And so with Booker T. Washington, he always believed that you should not let people just give you stuff, that you should contribute. That was sort of like his belief system.
Mm-hmm.
And so he told Rosenwald, if you would donate money to the school, to this project, then we will contribute the rest. So it started out with them using that money, building 3 schools in Alabama. And it was such a success that they decided to duplicate that effort in other states. But the same principle had to be used, where they created a Rosenwald fund. And from that fund, they would donate partial money towards building schools. And so in the United States, this all happened in the United States, and it was set up for the purpose of building better schools for blacks in that area, in Alabama, but then it spread. And so in Virginia, if you look at Virginia, there were over 6,000 schools built, Rosenwald schools that were built using that same principle.
6,000?
6,000 in the whole United States.
In the whole United States?
In the whole United States, but in Albemarle County, there was only 7.
7?
We are one of the 7.
And what were the other 6, do you know?
The other 6, one was up in Sismount that I know of. I know that one in Sismount is still there, but a private owner owns it. It's
still there. Do you know who? Do you know who owns it?
I've forgotten the name of the person that owns it. Yeah,
but
you wouldn't recognize it as a Rosenwald school because they remodeled.
Let me take a pause in a second, because Ashley and I were reading about the Sismont School that closed in 1960. Was that an all-white school, or was that one of the Rosenwald schools? Do you remember the Sismont School?
That probably was the white school. That other Sismont white
school. So the schools were segregated.
Schools were segregated.
So there was Sismont, there was this one, and the one that Lloyd went to, which I think was somewhere near Black Hat Road.
There's no record of one being on Black Hat Road that I know of.
Well, then I'm wrong about that. See, I didn't know enough to know the questions to ask back then. But it's not a Rosenwald
school. It was a black school there, but not a Rosenwald school. That still stands.
So there are 2 different types of black schools.
Yes.
Oh.
There's a lot of different types of black schools.
Oh, really?
Rosenwald just happened to be one type.
Because Georgia was in practical nurse, and she went to another black school. She was in Bunkertown. She lived at the end of Bunkertown Road.
Probably so.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but as far as I know, it's not recorded as Keswick being one of the Rosenwald schools.
Okay.
I forget where they were, but there were 7 of them, and 3 of them have been converted to private homes. 2 of them have been demolished, and we are one of the ones that's still in domain for public use. We'll be the only one, really, because the other ones are privately owned by residents who lives in them. And the other one is just sitting there waiting to be renovated. And I think that's Greenwood or Green something. Some part of Albemarle County.
Oh.
It's in Albemarle County.
Okay.
There was only 7 that were built in Albemarle County.
Okay.
I have the record of it at home. I didn't bring that, but I could always get back to you as to exactly where.
Okay.
Because the Department of Historical Resources have been doing research on that, trying to map where all of these schools are. And so that's how we kind of got involved. They got involved with us, and we got involved with them. And we have mapped where all the Rosenwald schools are.
Well, tell me a little bit about how your community effort has come together to do the restoration project, and if you have any sort of a funding organization in place.
Yes. In 2011, let's go back to 2013 is when the church actually bought.
Do we need to stop? I don't want to. Do we have?
No, not yet. The pastor's not here.
Nice to meet you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In 2013, when the church bought the school, you know, it was owned by a private. When it closed in 1950, a private owner bought it. I think it was a white family that bought it originally. I think their last name was Page, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think the last name. And then they sold it to a black family, a gardener, Mr. Jake Gardner, who is probably attended it somewhere in his life, you know, sometime in his life. The old school. There was an old school here, and then when they built this one in when they built this one, then they tore that old one down. But this school was built in 1921. So the church bought the property in 2003, and then they decided that they wanted to do something with it besides tear it down.
St. John's Church.
St. John.
Okay.
St. John actually owned the church. But in 2011, we created a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
It's called St. John Family Life and Fitness Center.
Oh,
Because
okay.
that's what we plan to do with it. Is
Okay.
to create it into a fitness center, a museum, a community center.
Uh-huh.
So in 2011, that nonprofit was started. And from that time, we have been working to renovate the school. We have been doing fundraisers, we've been writing grants, and we've been, you know, just raising money
Good.
towards renovating the school. So 2 years ago, we had written a grant to the Afro-American, I forgot the name of it. African American Civil Rights Grant.
Oh
Program.
yeah. Let's
So you can
move
put
you
that
over
down.
here so I have this in the
is telling
background.
The story of it.
Okay.
Of the grant. $75,000 for the stabilization of the building. So we got that money 2 years ago, and so of course once you get in this type federal grants, that's a process. And so from that time that we got the money, we've been going through the process of actually getting everything approved so we could start working on this building. And so that's what has happened. We have $75,000 from this grant, the federal grant, and we're stabilizing the building. That means that we're going underneath of it and making it safe for people to occupy this building and to do what we plan to do with it. So JES is the contractor, and they have started the 1st of August, and it will be completed by the end of August. So the next step after that, then we want to do the inside, and we'll show you what's going on in the inside of it.
Does JES, are they a local contracting company?
They're nationwide, but
they
this
are.
one is local. You know, they're all over the
And
United
so
States.
the 75,000 has covered what you all.
What we had to contribute 15,000 in addition to the 75.
Mm-hmm.
And so that will sustain us in completing the stabilization of the building.
So what are your plans for fundraising moving forward? What will you need? What are your need? Tell me what you need.
We are now writing additional grants, and with that, we need people to endorse the idea of this process, because a lot of times the grants will require that you have people to endorse you of the neighborhood. They want to know if the community will support you, if you have people in the government that will support you, if you have large organizations that will support you. So it would be what we need are people to endorse our effort. And we are doing private fundraisers. We have one coming up with T-shirts. We've done other stuff too that have raised money. And now that we got this project on the way, we have, we had raised some money to do this part. We hadn't raised quite enough, but we had raised quite a bit. And so when we got the grant, then that left those funds available to start doing some other funding things inside the building. And you'll see what needs to be done inside the building once we go inside. But it's not enough. We still have to raise another $140,000 to complete everything we like to do, for the roof and the inside of the building.
Okay, well, I'm going to end this part of this video.
Okay.